Thanks for joining us. I'm Nigel Main. That's what was going to pop up. I'm Nigel Main. I'm the host. We've kind of finally made it to the end of our 6-part live stream series, and as we've kind of talked about, this is a series of shows that are talking about and explaining in quite interesting detail, I think, fairly interesting detail, about what we do. And today's show is slightly different. And I'll show you why in a second. At least this bit works. So what we're planning on doing today is we are going to cover what I missed over the past 6 weeks. And I say missed, I mean in a way what could have been said, should have been said, what's happened, what changes have happened over, in the news and so on. To explain what we're going to be doing next. And then we're going to talk about our FAQs. Now, I'm going to shift over this way because over to my right is my wife, Liz. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Liz Main. I'm Nigel's wife and co-director at Sales Exchange. We've been working together on and off for about 20 years and kind of walked every step of this journey with him on the live streaming and marketing and so on. So whilst I work elsewhere for a software company, we've actually kind of developed these ideas over the past probably 4.5, 5 years.
Well, I wouldn't have it any other way. What I thought I might do, just as part of this, because this is a kind of like a review, and we're focused on working with sales-related companies, B2B sales-related companies for tech, SaaS and services. And if you've not followed, if this is your first one that you've watched, great. If you've watched the series, or for the people that watch it on catch up, if you've watched the series and you're on your last one, I salute you. Thank you for staying with us. But to kind of recap, what do we do? What's the if it's a bit, I suppose, salesy, but the FAB, the features, attributes, benefits, and I've kind of got a thing which is like ABC, which is features, attributes, benefits, and costs. So features is what it is, and basically we are experts, I would say, in replacing existing sales and marketing strategies to help you generate new business at scale. So that's new business at scale. What we do is kind of repackage and automate your promotion, I guess is the best way to put it. So we'll repackage your content, automate promotion, and then create this infrastructure, this live streaming infrastructure, so you can reach your total addressable market. And finally, the final point of it is looking at I suppose the best way to describe it is adapting your technology so that you can sell at scale, but not have to go and meet people face to face all the time. And the point of having this type of technology with being able to stream, it's not just streaming onto platforms like LinkedIn Live and Facebook and so on. It's being able to put on a very high quality broadcast to your prospects. And then why would you want to do it? Well, it increases profitability. But the figure that we keep kind of harping on about is your turnover per person per annum. And that's what we're looking to increase, because the average throughout the UK is about 110, give or take. 110, 120 grand. But worldwide is about 140. And that's kind of most of the reasons why there are problems out there. So, and cost-wise, if you're looking at the final one, C, it costs a fraction of what you pay at the moment for sales and marketing. But I couldn't give you an exact figure because I don't know what you've got. And so that's something that we kind of look into and then work out exactly what it needs to be and so on. And that's it really. So we educate your market. I'm looking at my notes here. Educate your market, provide them with an open access website, so no more gated content. And you automate your promotion and exposure, and then engage at scale worldwide. And that means, I mean, it's difficult to comprehend for some businesses, because if you're used to having BDRs, you're used to the kind of the one-to-one dialogue all the time. But with streaming, you're looking at reaching an enormous audience. I mean, it's just unfathomable almost to a point, and unheard of. That's why this is so interesting.
So basically what we'll do, we'll just recap on what we've talked about previously. So if you've not been able to join the previous shows that we've done, do go and have a look on our website, because they're all there, and they all have transcripts as well. But the first show, we talked about the state of the nation. So really where sales and marketing is at right now, and how it got to that point. It doesn't paint a very pretty picture. So we did a review of that, really, just to sort of give you the context of why we came to do the live shows in the first place. The second show, we talked about restructuring your content, and really why a lot of businesses, whilst they focused on the written content, really variety is the key. Because if you don't have the variety, if you don't have the videos, if you don't have the podcasts, the live streams, as well as the written content, you're potentially missing out on a huge market, because not everybody likes to read. Some people like to listen in their cars. Some people like to watch in their downtime. But also to allow access to your content without gating it. This kind of goes against the grain for a lot of marketing people and a lot of salespeople, because you're using that information that you gather from the gated content to call people. But actually, that's not what people want. Ungated content is much more successful at reaching your market than gating that content. Show 3 talked about a little bit more about what was on our website and how we've organised our content in such a way that you can go to the page. We've got a 1-page content stack page, which basically tells you everything that you need to know, and it's in stages. So you can look at how to write the content, how to do the live stream, how to do video, podcasts, and so on. And all that content is there in 1 page so that you can have access to it all. It tells you how long the read time is and so on, and all the links, which basically tells you in many ways our message, and to a certain extent how to buy from us. We also talked about Social 444, which is our social methodology, I suppose you would call it.
Automated.
Yeah, automated on social.
120 adverts.
Yes, on social media. That's perhaps changed slightly, but it talks about Social 444. Show 4, we talked about how to go live and how to reach either hundreds or even thousands of prospects using the live stream platform to do that, by emailing your total addressable market from the database. You know, if you don't have one, or if your database is a bit old and tired, to actually regenerate that with new data and reach your total addressable market with clean information, and invite people to watch your show on a regular basis. And then show 5 was about how to convert that show, the show that you've produced, into a podcast so that you can reach even more of your market through the podcast, putting it on the podcast platforms that are out there, Anchor, Buzzsprout, Apple, Spotify, all of these platforms. We also talked about how to take your live show on the road. So go to where your prospects are and produce a live show from there, invite your prospects to a certain extent, you could call it an exhibition, but it's really invite them to an event that you host and run a live show from there. And then finally, we talked about how Sales Exchange, our operations and what we do. So that's a bit of an overview of the show. So like I say, if you've not seen them, go over there, check them out. Really informative and really good information. It doesn't matter where you are on your journey, whether you're a new startup or whether you're well on the way, you've got, as Nigel calls it, alphabet funding. It doesn't matter where you are on your journey, there's something for everybody in the live shows.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, definitely. I got on with that. That's spot on. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about having a plan. People have been doing the same type or engaging the same kind of strategy with marketing for 20 years. If you're looking at the kind of the digital stuff, and it's not changed, but it doesn't work. Everybody knows it doesn't work. I mean, unequivocally, it forces a ceiling, and nobody seems to be able to get above that ceiling. And so, if we're going to recommend something or recommend an alternative, we better make sure we got it nailed down and covered every base. I mean, that's what this has to be about, and that's what we've done. That's why there's so much information on the website. It's all open. As I said, it's a completely open access website. So, I mean, today's show, what are we going to do? What did we miss? What's happened over the past few weeks? And what have we got planned and so on. We're also going to answer some questions at the end. So we've had some people message in and say, okay, so what about this? What about that? So we'll come on to those in a minute. But in terms of I suppose I want this just to kind of flow, if that makes sense. It is, if you've seen the previous ones, I've got slides. I know what I'm saying for each of them. I've got some notes in front of me. I stuck to the structure and so on. This is a bit of a different format, really. But also for you to look at this and think, okay, well, you can see we've got a couple of mics. The mics and the quality that we use will lend itself towards being able to convert this to a podcast. It'll be fine. And that's what we want these shows to be about, in a way, is to show the possibilities, what can be done, and the level of quality. And I think that's I mentioned before when people have been looking at webinars, and the webinar quality is pretty poor, or when you're speaking to salespeople or vice versa, and they're looking down there, they're looking at the picture here, they're looking at the screen, but they're not looking up here at the camera. And so it's all about sharing what we're doing and so on. And one of the things that kind of sprung to mind during this over the past couple of weeks, really, is our descriptions, the descriptions that we all use and how relevant they are. And by that I mean demand gen, lead gen, ABM and ABX, and digital marketing. And it's based on what I'm saying is that my understanding, my explanation of those activities are different to other people. They shouldn't be. They're supposed to be the same, but they're different. And that's why I don't want to say we've got a lot to say.
You're never short of anything to say.
I'll be accused of that. But you see what I'm saying is that this is why it's almost like an impasse. Well, what do? We've been doing this for however long. We just have to accept it, suck it up, and just get on with it.
Or develop a new piece of software to do something more.
I mean, the amount of software platforms that are supposedly integrated and supposed to give you the edge. Well, they give the SaaS company the edge by the money that you're paying them in a monthly subscription. But the reality is, who do you get to go and see? So that's one of the things about it. And because of all of that, we've got this thing about 18-month tenure with CMOs and senior marketing people. There's a reason for that. It's because the businesses are hopeful, constantly hopeful, that they will generate more revenue by taking on someone new. And they don't. So they churn that person again. And they put them back into the pool and bring a new one out. And so I think it's a really difficult scenario, and part of the problem in a way is there are two, call it departments. There are two departments in your company that determine what happens. You've got HR and talent acquisition, and you've got marketing. So talent acquisition, naturally, they recruit, and they will recruit the people to go and do the job based upon the job descriptions that they've been given. So they go out and find them, bring them in. And they tick all the boxes, they get employed. Talent acquisition and everybody else involved in that process are not going to talk about strategy. That person is expected to continue the strategy that the company gives them. And if they say they're going to set the world alight, I think the shortest I mentioned before was about 9 months for a CMO. So your talent acquisition person is going to determine who you should employ. And they're going to employ them based upon the job description or their CV. So they tick these boxes and so on. No room here for any mavericks. So that's the first thing. The second thing is marketing. Marketing then decide who you're going to talk to and how you're going to talk to them. And if you understand about SEO starts with everything to do with impressions. The more impressions, the more clicks you're going to get. Same with business. The more people you get to speak to, the more likelihood it is that you're going to sell to them. So therefore, you want to be able to speak to as many people as you possibly do at any one given time. But if your exposure is restricted in any way, doesn't matter who by, if it's restricted in any way, then it's going to affect your revenue. And that's kind of that's the problem. And so I mentioned all the software. Who bought it? Who buys it? Who goes down that path? And it's the marketers, it's the directors, it's all the people that have been conditioned to buy into it. This is what you need. You need this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just...
and I think the thing is I think what people don't understand, I do love a spreadsheet, but I do think there's a certain degree to which companies will deploy software into a company and then just hope that software is going to do its job without any management, without any oversight or anything like that. And what I've kind of discovered in my career is that there is a lack of management of that software. And I don't mean the actual physical doing whatever you need to do with the software. I mean determining what you actually are getting out of that software, what the return on investment is. Because anything in my mind, anything that you have that is sales or marketing related has to have some kind of a return on investment. You wouldn't take a salesperson on, for example, and not expect them to perform or measure their performance. If they don't perform, they go. It's as simple as that. So in my mind, if you are deploying software to either manage your marketing, reach your market, making outbound calls, whatever it is, that software has to have an ROI attached to it. Preceding that, really, you need to have some kind of a business case for the legitimacy of putting that in the first place. But ultimately, it needs an ROI. I mean, if you just look simply at, for example, the whole pay-per-click scenario, people don't really understand they kind of get pay-per-click because we've all clicked on banners and a lot of people use pay-per-click for their advertising campaigns. But I don't think people really understand the structure of how pay-per-click works. We'll use Google because everybody uses Google, but as its structure. So when you go onto a page, the top 4 adverts are pay-per-click. I have to read this off the screen because I can't remember off the top of my head. The bottom 4 are also pay-per-click and the middle 8 are organic. So immediately you can see it's split 50-50. So 4 at the top, 4 at the bottom are paid for. The stuff in the middle is organic. So basically, if you've got a pay-per-click campaign going, you need to establish how successful that pay-per-click campaign has been. And you have to do it in various stages. So first of all, you need to know how many clicks you're getting from that banner to your landing page. And bear in mind, all of these statistics are available, but it's how you use them and how you know, whether you interrogate Google to get this information. But it's crucial to understanding the ROI on a particular campaign. So how many clicks you get from the banner to the landing page. You need to know how many clicks that you got on that landing page, how many of them actually completed the page. So basically read to the bottom of the page. You need to know how many don't complete and how many do complete the page, because that will see whether or not the page is attracting people at the top, and therefore people are reading through it and are therefore engaged in your content. You need to know how many people unsubscribe if they've given you their details, because some people will subscribe to get the information and immediately unsubscribe because they might be a competitor, but probably one of the reasons is they don't want to be pestered by your BDRs. That's the point. You have to consider that. You need to know how many people complete the document and stay registered. So, you know, how many people keep it and maybe find that document valuable. You need to know how many people have completed the page, clicked through, and that your BDRs have tried to contact but can't get through to them. I know this from the role that I'm doing right now, is that I know people go onto websites, they register, they give the main number, the BDR rings the main number, but that person isn't contactable on the main number because they work from home, or they know that the call is going to be, you know, there's a gatekeeper that's going to say that person's not available. So, and they're not going to freely give up their mobile number because that's not what people do, right? They don't want to be hassled by BDRs. And we're all, you know, this is who we are as human beings. This is who we are as business people. So let's not delude ourselves that our customers are going to be any different, because if you won't give your details, why do you expect your prospects or potential buyers to give them, to give you their details? You know, they don't suddenly become different species just because they're on a landing page.
Yeah.
So then you also need to establish how many you actually make contact with, and then how many you get a discovery call from. So you can see that on that journey, you're getting less than, you know, if you started with 100, you might end up actually speaking to maybe 2 people, if you're lucky. But then the quality of that, you know, how good are they, and so on. So, you know, it's unsurprising really that a lot of companies are not that successful with their pay-per-click campaigns, primarily because either, you know, the content's not good enough, the people don't want to be contacted because they want to remain anonymous and they clicked on it, your competitors can be clicking on it. There's lots of different variables, but ultimately what you need is the data, because you need to understand how successful those campaigns are and whether they're worth pursuing. And even to test it, you know, write a piece of content, which we'll come on to because there's lots of ways of writing content. But, you know, a piece of content that Google says, this is a great piece of content, we're going to index this and we're going to put it on the front page. You know, you can see the competition for that front page is significant. It's serious competition. But if you get on that page, on that first page, and people click through because it's not hidden behind a form and it comes through and you get a, you know, how successful is that? People want to educate themselves. They don't want to give you inside length measurement just because you've got a document. I once downloaded a document from I think it was accountancy software, and I gave my details, and I was okay with that. I gave my details. I got the document, and I kid you not, it was a Word document, and it was like 1.5 sides of A4. And I'm like, really? And this wasn't that long ago.
No.
And I just think, you know, I'm not saying all content's like that, but certainly you've really got to think about your buyer and really what your buyer's looking for. But you've got to be able to measure that, the success of that content. You have to be able to measure everything. Pay-per-click is just an example. Any software you install, you have to be able to look at that ROI. How successful is it? Because if you as a business, if you're paying 50 grand for this, 25 for that, it soon adds up. You know, if you're paying 100 grand a year for any kind of marketing, MarTech or sales stack, they all tend to be kind of lumped together. If you, whatever you're paying, say it's 100,000 a year, you've got to at least make that in gross profit from that to make it.
I think as a rule of thumb, in a way, it should be 3 times.
I'm trying to be generous.
If it was a salesman and you paid a salesman 100 grand a year, you'd expect them to be doing $1 million for you. That's what you'd expect.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely expect them to be doing $1 million.
And I don't think there's that rigor in a way when you're looking at software, because you think the software is going to be the golden goose. And I think we've talked about this, about marketing automation software. Everybody thought marketing automation software was going to be the golden goose, that it would keep delivering and delivering and delivering. Well, clearly it didn't, because then they added on ABM. Then they added on the stalking. What's it called? Reverse IP lookup.
I was going to mention the company name. But
no.
Hush my mouth.
Yeah.
So,
So, you know, you've got, we've got more and more add-ons, and it's not because the buyers become more and more sophisticated. This is a personal opinion. It's not because I think the buyer has become more and more sophisticated. I think the buyer has become more and more discerning.
Yeah.
But I also think companies have become more and more desperate and are constantly looking for that, you know, the next thing that will make it all easy, make it, you know, it will make it easier to do a sale. It will make it easier to reach a contact. And it's just that bit out of reach. It just seems to be out.
And it's almost, to say it's by design would be, I don't know whether that would be right or not. You decide. So think about this. So we all want new business. Everybody wants new business, and they want to say, right, okay, well, how do we go about getting new business? Let's use the interweb. No, I'm joking. Let's use the internet. So use pay-per-click. Start with consumer. I mean, this is the big thing about what we're saying and doing.
This is your real hobby horse, isn't it?
Oh. The thing,
B2B and B2C.
We are expecting you, our audience, no matter who watches this, we expect you to be in the B2B space. We do not sell jeans. We do not sell clothes or cars or food or Red Bull, nothing. We sell business technology that is, there is an expectation to make an ROI on what we do. And we believe, and we're communicating to you because we think that's what you do too. Okay? So real distinction here. However, the marketing industry is driven and educated by people that teach the 4 pillars, the whole thing about working with your customers and persona marketing, everything else that goes with it, because that's what you do when you sell to consumers. Because the consumer market, there's nearly 8 billion of them. Business market, not so many. I mean, just go and look in the UK, 75, 80 million people in the UK, 6 million businesses. Yeah, so sell to 70 or sell to 6. There's a lot selling to 70. So that's the first thing. So if the business marketers are educated based upon the strategies being to consumers, well, it's not going to work, is it? Oh, that's it. It doesn't work, does it? Then we've got a bigger problem. And on the one hand, it's really clever software. But on the other hand, it's screwing you over. So if you're a consumer, you go and buy a pair of Adidas trainers, or you look at a pair of Adidas trainers on a shopping site. If you don't buy them there and then, it's open season on you. It then means that any site for a period of time over, whatever it is, whoever you go and look at, if they have remarketing AdSense on their platform, you will get to see not just Adidas, but you will get to see other people, other companies advertise and do remarketing to you. Okay, so that's you're a consumer. You bought or looking at trainers. You get other adverts relating to trainers. So okay, that kind of makes sense. So the thing about that though is that your access to buy those trainers on the internet is being monitored. Yes, I know there's privacy things with Apple. Yes, I know that there's, but when if you're looking at remarketing and Google, Facebook Pixel and so on and so on, it's open season, it's commercial. So you're monitored. You get resold to it. Your data is registered through remarketing and data lakes, which means other people can attempt to sell to you because you didn't buy first time. Okay, so you go, okay. So what if it's a business activity, kind of engagement, transaction, same thing. You're tracked. Takes a bit step further though. Not only are you tracked, you're also there's also this thing about reverse IP lookup, and you go onto a website. Not only do you get tracked in terms of remarketing, but you also get tracked in terms of your IP address, which they match up in data lakes to say this visit came from this company and and these are the likely people in that company that came and looked at it, and this is their telephone number and so on. You've then got the association, integration, whatever you want to call it, with the consumer site. So this is a business activity, but that data lake matches up with the consumer activity because you might have bought something from that IP address, from that info. It goes, oh, look, join them together. Then you get a phone call at the weekend on your mobile. So it's like, well, it's no wonder this is a bit of a problem. So I've talked about those two things before, but then you've got your marketing. So you're doing pay-per-click. You spent that money. You're spending a pound per click with LinkedIn or whatever you've bid for your Google pay-per-click. So now you're putting adverts out there that people are clicking on. You hope. There's two things about this. Same as before. They click on it. They have now confirmed what they're looking at. You've gone through a free browser. You've clicked on this information. You've clicked the T's and C's for the browsers, whether it's Safari or Google or whoever you use. So you are making yourself visible every time you go online. Yes, I know you can use Kaspersky, you can use VPNs and this, that, and the other, but in the main, it doesn't happen. So as a business, you've gone to look. You're paying for your pay-per-click. You're getting people to click on it. Those people are clicking on it, and your data is being sold to someone else. So if you don't get them first time, your data is being used by remarketing and other companies, so they'll get in there. So if you want to sell XYZ software here, and your competitors are over there, someone's clicked on yours, not quite sure. The next time they go online, they get to see all the competitors' adverts as well. So you wonder why you're not making the money and making your return on investment with pay-per-click. And then you've got zero clicks. This is scary. 65% of people that go on so they put a search in, get the result on the page, don't click. 65% don't click. And of the ones that do click, they may or may not click on your banner. Of the ones that do click, 27% click first organic and 8% click second organic, and it just falls off a cliff below that. So that's why there's an issue with communicating your message online. It's like, do you really want to spend 20 grand a month pay-per-click as a business, as a B2B business? Consumer, very different. Not talking about that. As a B2B business, do you really want to do that? Knowing that you've got, it's a bit like reading books, isn't it? You know, that analogy of reading a book. So you have a bookshop. There are people that buy books and they put them on a shelf. People that buy books and open them People buy books, open them, read the first page. Buy books, open them, read the first page, read the first chapter. And so that graph starts from there and drops down really quickly. Same thing with your pay-per-click and the online activity for your business, and it's across the board. You just have to look at impressions for your given product, your business product. You look at the impressions and the volume of impressions that happen on a weekly basis or monthly basis, and you'll soon see, well, that will explain why we're not getting the traffic. So it is a big problem. I mean, it's knowing that you pay this money and the platforms out there invite everybody else to have a pop at your potential prospects that you're paying for the click for. Not good. And so it is a constant problem, but it is not insurmountable. And even with like LinkedIn and stuff,
Yeah, I mean, I think what is just incredible to me, or what we kind of discovered over the last couple of weeks, is that, I mean, we all know that LinkedIn it's a commercial platform. So don't be under any illusion that LinkedIn is there to serve you, because it's just not. It's like Facebook. It's not there to serve you. It's there to serve itself and to serve its advertisers. So it is a commercial platform that gets its revenue from banner advertising and subscriptions. So that's the first thing. So bear that in mind when I tell you a little bit more about how LinkedIn works and how you need to use it to your advantage. I think what you need to understand is that when you post when you put a post on LinkedIn, what most people do is what most businesses will do, they'll put the post on LinkedIn, and that post will effectively allow the browser to look at the post, click on it, and then go to your website. Now, the problem with that is that LinkedIn has now lost you as the browser, because you've gone off somewhere, you've gone to a website. LinkedIn does not want you to do that, because what they want effectively is your dwell time. And dwell time is for all social media platforms. It's not just LinkedIn, it's Facebook, it's TikTok, and so on and so on. So basically what LinkedIn want you to do is they want you to stay on LinkedIn, and the longer the better. So if you're starting to auto-post your content onto LinkedIn, but your posts send the browser off-site, what will happen is LinkedIn will throttle your posts. It will stop those posts being presented to your audience. Now, obviously, what you want is impressions, and you want people to look. So you want people to see you in their feed, but that doesn't happen. So if you send them off-site, if you send them to your website, LinkedIn will throttle that. So you think, well, what am I going to do? Well, actually, LinkedIn provides you with all that you need on LinkedIn to keep your browsers on LinkedIn, or to keep their browsers on LinkedIn, to keep them people that your potential buyers on their platform. So you can post articles, you can promote, you can post images, videos, live stream, and you do it all on their platform. You don't send them off anywhere else. You do all of this on your platform, on the LinkedIn platform. Most of you probably are aware, and maybe some of you don't really use the facility that much, but there's the showcase pages and the company pages. And the thing is to all intents and purposes, and it sounds like a lot of work, and it is to create your LinkedIn, your business LinkedIn profile, the company pages, and have all of your content, everything that you want people to look at on those company pages. And then you have the same thing on your website. If somebody is interested, you do get a link from LinkedIn to your website. But to all intents and purposes, if the browser is on LinkedIn, keep them on LinkedIn. you can provide a link to your website, but don't embed that within your content. Don't send them off to LinkedIn for many of your content. Keep them on there, because at the end of the day, we are the product as far as LinkedIn is concerned. They want to sell their advertising and their subscriptions to the people that are on that platform. Yeah. And so you've got to keep people on there. And I think that's really why a lot of these posts that people say, I don't normally post this, but, and then you get some big long sob story. So cynical of me, I know, but I just, it does get a bit tiresome. But the thing is, that's why these posts get loads and loads of hits, because they're not sending them off to a website anywhere. These people are reading that content on that site because they produced it. They've produced that bit of content, and it's sitting on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn are getting people reading it, 5 minutes or whatever it is. So, having understood this, we're in the process of changing all our content from sending people off to our site, so keeping them on LinkedIn.
We're still doing the auto posting.
Yeah.
But the point was we saw the traffic go and impressions shoot up like hundreds and thousands of 2,000%, and then over 2-month period it dropped off. I'm thinking, why is it doing that? And then we worked out and researched it more and realized the auto posting, they will throttle it. And so now what we're doing is still doing the auto posting, but we're changing all the links within the auto posting, because I've now taken that content, I've copied it and edited it a bit. We're taking it off our website and posted it on the company pages on LinkedIn. So now the auto posts are still going out. You click on it, takes you to a LinkedIn page. Happy days. So.
Yeah. I mean, I just think you need to understand the mechanisms of what you're working with. And once you start to understand the mechanisms of what you're working with, I mean, I think we probably have mentioned, or Nigel's probably mentioned this on one of the previous live shows, but one of the shocking things to me, I suppose, because everybody does it, when you gate a piece of content on Google can't see you. So you can't be found through the search engines because it can't look at something that you've hidden behind a form. And it's like, who knew? I mean, because our logic is telling us, because Google is saying, pay for pay-per-click, because we want you to pay us for that, whatever you bid for that pay-per-click. But if you put it behind a form, well, we're not going to show that to people that are looking. And I was like, so, this whole thing about the social media platforms and the search engines, they are not really there for your benefit.
Yeah, because you're
the product, but you have to use them to your advantage. So I think you really have to think about that very carefully, in terms of what you're doing on LinkedIn and how you're releasing your content to the market.
Yeah, I mean, even on the company page, LinkedIn have got a lead form on LinkedIn, so you can obviously.
That's right. I forgot about that.
You can put your, of course, you can put your telephone number on there and your contact details. That's the whole point. But also, there's a lead page. How to get started? Click on it. Buy now. Whatever. There's a big button on it. So even LinkedIn are saying, look, we've got all this infrastructure for you to use, and that becomes your last mile. Go. I've seen your post. I've seen your showcase information. I've seen your pictures, videos, and live streams. I'll give you a call. And I think lest we forget, we are all in business to generate more business, aren't we? We don't care where it comes from. Nobody cares where a lead comes from. Nobody cares anything like that. We want people to read our content, as in we, the collective we. We want everybody to read our content, don't we? So where it is, it's irrelevant. As long as it's got our name on it and our contact details on it, if they want to contact us, that's all that matters, isn't it? But instead, what's been going on is people have become precious. You go, well, I want traffic to the website. I want traffic to my website. You go, who cares? You're not getting enough traffic anyway. So it's irrelevant. It's not serving you. You're not doing, if the average is 140 grand per person per annum, you're not doing 280 grand per person per annum. If you were, you're probably not really watching this or more. But why shouldn't you?
I mean, ultimately, it's all about engagement.
Yeah.
It's about engaging wherever your prospects are, whether they are looking on Google or whether they're on LinkedIn, wherever they are, it is all about engagement, and it's about building up that relationship. And really, I think that's what the key is about the whole live streaming. It's about building up that relationship with prospects in a more meaningful and immediate, if you like, spontaneous, authentic way that you just don't get.
They wouldn't know. Oh, now they know. They go, well, they're married. Clearly they're married. Yeah, but there's this. You don't get this on a formal video.
And you also don't get this on a piece of written content. I mean, you do get the feel for the business, but this is about authenticity, because ultimately as salespeople, you know, I mean, I know it's a bit of an old cliche, but people buy people.
Yeah.
And by doing the live streaming, which is a more economical, that's just one good reason of doing it, but it's a better way of reaching out to your prospects so that they can get to know you and engage with you and find out about who you are, what you do, and be more open, I suppose.
It's the if anybody's ever been networking, but it's the know, like, trust. And how on earth do you do that? Well, you can only do that through elements of repetition, but it's about know, like, trust, and that's why streaming is the most natural way to be able to do that. And I think that personally, that's why I think, kind of moving on to a slightly different subject though, that's why ChatGPT is so important. You go, wait a second, but that's AI. You're talking about know, like, trust. Yeah. You start getting your people to look at ChatGPT and the prompts that are available already on AI PRM, which is a
prompt platform, isn't
it's
it?
a prompt platform and a plugin that you can put on a Chrome extension. You start reading and understanding what the prompts actually say, and to understand the content that you're producing, it's going, well, you need to ensure that you follow the EAT categorization, or MYML. So it was EAT and then EEAT. So it's expertise, experience, authority, trust. And MYML is your money or your life. Mm-hmm. If it's the money or your life, Google is more critical of how it distributes your content.
Oh yeah, that was to do with like crypto and finance, wasn't it? Money or your
so your money,
life. And health and wellness, I think.
That's it. And so you've got this thing with EAT, which is expertise, experience, authority, and trust. And that's what you've got to be. Everybody's got to be putting across in all of their content. So authority and trust, well, you could kind of look at this bit as being authority. You can see what we understand, what we know, how we present what we've got on our website and so on. Or, you know, the trust element, being contactable, visible, available, and all the other attributes that go with it. It's not about whether you've got a criminal record. It's about your accessibility as a company. I mean, how many websites have you been on that you can't find a telephone number? That's what it's talking about in terms of trust.
I always get cheesed off when I can't find an About Us page. Or the About Us page doesn't give me any pictures of the people that I'm working for. That really
About Us pages, then people end up writing about the company, and it's like, no, tell them who you are.
Yeah.
The bottom line,
give me pictures.
Yeah, people by people, and that's always been the case. It's never, ever, ever changed.
Tell me what they do as a hobby.
Yeah. And that's
cycled up Kilimanjaro or something. I was impressed.
I was impressed with him as well. But this is the point. It's about saying, right, you know, it's that kind of right. If we do that, it's time out. It's time out with this sales and marketing stuff. This is nonsense. It's nuts. It's not working. Why isn't it working? Nobody's asking the question, why is it not working? And the fact that it's not working and your revenue's down or not hitting the figures that you need or want, well, why isn't it doing it, and what can we do to put it right? If you think about it, you've got team. I'm not you as your company, because I'm sure the people in your company are great, but other companies. Teams of people doing the same thing over and over and over again. And nobody stopped to think, do you know what? This doesn't really work very well, does it? Nobody said it. They're just bigging up what they're doing, saying, I'm a specialist at this. I think that sounded contemptuous.
It was a little, yeah.
I didn't mean to be.
Yeah.
But because I'm on the side of the business owner, I'm going, got to stop these people from doing this.
But I also think, looking at ChatGPT, I mean, the number of videos that you've watched and the way, even just in the even just while we've been doing these live shows, where we've gone from ChatGPT. I mean, Nigel did a lot of the images that you'll see on our content through using Midjourney, which was to produce the images.
Yeah.
And absolutely hilarious to begin with, like people with like 10 fingers on one hand. All of that kind of thing. Some of them were very funny. But we did things like orcs. The royal we. Nigel did things like orcs and stormtroopers and Star Wars and that kind of thing. But even where ChatGPT was when we first started this series to where it is now, and I think it's really important to think about ChatGPT and its application, because it's artificial intelligence, but basically it's just aggregating all of that information that it's found out there on the internet. That was already written by a human. So I think, and it's just gathered all that information and is able to represent you with better written content and quicker. Quicker is always a bonus, but I think it's come a long way. It's even come a long way in the last few weeks, and I think that's why some of the other more corporate type platforms like the Microsofts and the whatever said, "Oh, hang on a minute, we need to catch up here. You're streaking ahead with us."
Well, it wasn't. Well, what I saw yesterday, I think it was. It wasn't. It was. Musk and Wozniak and
the corporate,
not Microsoft have got 10 billion in it.
Oh yeah, but you know what I mean.
But they're basically saying, we need to slow down on this, because we don't know the human implications of all this stuff to do with AI and so on and so on, and we haven't really evaluated this. And I can imagine OpenAI, which is the company, going, "Is that right? Oh, let's just put everything on hold.
Let's just
for 6
slow down
months,
for you, shall we? Just
for you, so you can all catch up." I don't think so. I think the thing is, if you look at it, so ChatGPT and the Wolfram, I think it's called, and all the apps, integrations that you can get with GPT, if you wanted to, as a consumer, you can say, "I feel hungry. I would like a 6,000 calorie meal." And ChatGPT will say, "Would you like me to book you a restaurant? Do you want me to have it delivered? Or do you want to cook it yourself?" I mean, amazing. It's great. But a business, how's a business going to use it? A business is not going to relinquish its bank account to AI to say, "Run the company, make the decisions you want to make." It's just not going to do it. Yes, it can write content quicker and more effectively than anything else, but it's still, that part of it still boils down to somebody has to read it. So you can't get two AIs talking to each other, two companies. I've evaluated our company here. We need to buy X, Y, and Z. We'll get a loan to do that, and we'll buy this £500,000 bit of software to make this happen. And so, well, it's just not going to happen, because you will then need people to implement that. Oh, we just get more AIs. Oh, just sack everybody and just get AIs to talk to each other and exchange money. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that the whole thing, when it comes to where we're at with this just from our point of view, this content creation, this ability to better understand how we need to communicate to people, I think is it is essential. I mean, even looking at, I'm just looking at my notes. I know I said this previously. In spite of all the digital that's out there, still doing SEO, but still cold calling. We're doing that 70 years ago, cold calling. Still doing it now. Still being talked about as a viable methodology to generate new business, even though it is 300 to 1 or 400 to 1 of finding someone that might be interested. And every single person can't stand getting or receiving a phone call. The average turnover per person per annum is 140 grand because all of the activities are delegated to a certain number of people, which means you can turn over a certain amount of revenue, but you still need all these other people. It's almost like, it's not dark ages, but you know what I mean? You've got just too many people. But the bottom line is that your ability of reaching people is hampered because you're doing it all one-to-one. So because everybody's doing it one-to-one, well, I guess you could say, well, nobody else is going down this one. We'll just stay as we are. We kind of tick over. Yep, that's right. That's why you've got the Rogers technology curve. You've got innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. That's why it exists. And there's only 15% that are or 13%, whatever it is, who are right at the beginning. So not everybody's going to do this, which is great. It's great for you. But the point is that with all this information, all this data, all these advances that we've had, we're still getting 500,000 companies start in the UK and 500,000 businesses fail every year in the UK. You've still got that failure rate that it's 20% in the first, 30% in the second, 50% by the third. And by the year 10, 91% of businesses go bust. So says the Financial Times. I believe them. And then Harvard Business Review say 40% of businesses that get investment go bust. Doesn't matter who they are. I'm not talking just startups. 40% of businesses that get investment go bust. 75% don't reach their own targets. And 95% don't make an ROI for the investor, but then the investors knew that anyway. That's why they want their unicorns. But if you look at whatever any company is doing, if the average around the world is 140 grand, whatever you're doing, you're either above or below. But even there are a couple of companies like Appian and Pegasystems. You think, whoa, big companies in the BPM space. I think when I did my calculations, Pegasystems were 190 grand per person per annum, and Appian were 200, 210, something like that. I think Kofax were 250. I think something like that. But if you get the software press and what have you on a daily basis, like I do, you realise that they're not as profitable as everybody would think they would be, even though they are doing like 200 grand per person per annum, because their salaries that are required are that much higher. Plus they've got, obviously, carrying lots of debt and so on. So it's that awareness that there's something not quite right with this, but there's also equally there's something that can be done right, that can be changed. So that's pretty much in that respect. It's overall it's interesting, and the reason I say it's interesting, since doing this, our traffic has increased by 300%. I mean, we're busy, we do consultancy anyway, but 300%. I'm quite happy with that. And I don't know where I haven't finished yet. And that's the point. I haven't finished. And when it's, you're thinking, well, 300% increase in traffic and so on, whatever traffic you're getting, increase it by 300%, that's what you're going to change your revenue by. Not that you're going to change your income by 300%, but if you increase it pro rata, then there you go. That's a starting point. And so in terms of, what have you got to do? Well, to get started, review what you've got. You have to review what you've got and compare it to what we've done. Yeah, that's what it's not complicated. And then The second part is I'm reading this. Create a plan to rework your existing content to deliver what prospects want. Take off the forms, ungate everything. I mean, everything. Makes me so. I was listening to someone the other day, and they went, "Oh yeah, we don't gate everything. Just certain important documents we gate." It's like that's supposed to impress anybody. It's like, so the really good stuff you're going to hide, the crappy stuff you don't really care about. It's just, and then finally when it gets to this writing stuff, with content, you can find people. There's people by the hour. There's Fiverr. There's whoever. But you can get these people to write your scripts, write your content, rewrite your content. We've got templates. We've showed you templates. There are guides and stuff like that on the website about templates that we've got that say, make it conform to this, you'll rank on Google. So what? But it means it will engage your prospects. The people that read it will go, I like this. And the reason they'll probably like it is because it got ranked on Google. But don't worry about where it is, because getting onto page 1 can be a bit of a task. I hasten to say that most of our stuff gets to about page 1. But so what? It's no big deal. So so where are we up to?
Well, we've actually had a few questions over the last few weeks. So I think you can answer these questions.
Okay, go on then.
And then these lovely people that are watching us can go and have some lunch.
No, you're not allowed to go. What's the time?
1 o'clock.
Oh, it's only an hour.
So,
okay.
We had a question in from Adam in Birmingham, and he said, can we start live streaming while we're in the process of working on our content?
Yes and no. And the reason I say yes and no is if you're going to review your content, great. But to start live streaming takes time, but not what you think. You have to tell people what you're doing. And you have to tell them again and again and again and again. That's the point of this. It's repetition. That's what keeps working. So, yes, you can whilst you're doing your content, but if you look at the logic of this, you want to get your content correct in the first place. Then you start your automation and get people to go and look and read the content, at which time you're messaging your total addressable market to say, we're doing a live show, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And you're going to do that about 2 months before you do the live show. So it's only 8 weeks. So it's only eight emails. Preferably 3 months beforehand, 1 a week. So it's 12 emails they get. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And then you've got the adverts that go onto LinkedIn and the adverts that go onto any other social platforms that you use. So you can do it, but you've got to look at the overall time scale that better, you want to build people up to this. And so they're kind of going, okay, great. Well, this is interesting. Let's see what they've got to say. I'm looking forward to this. Because going back to the point, your total addressable market in the UK, if you've watched the previous ones, you know what I'm about to say. In the UK, if you're selling to slightly larger companies, say 50 employees and above, there are 44,000 companies that have 50 employees and above. Okay, take 10,000 of them as your total addressable market. 1% to 15% of your total addressable market are looking to start their buying journey every week. So that means 100 people could be watching you every week. So you need to tell those people what you're going to do. And you do that through emailing them and putting banner adverts on LinkedIn. So you're able to reach your total addressable and get them to come and watch you. So you can stream. I mean, where's my phone? Oh, my phone's gone. You could stream straight away from your mobile. But you wouldn't, because who's going to watch you? So it's just about planning.
Okay.
Plan it first.
Yeah. Okay. So, the next one is a related question. This was from Angela from Shoreditch. She said, "Can you work with our existing marketing team on our content?"
Yeah. I mean, the answer is a resounding yes. I know I've been a bit harsh on marketers, but the thing is that who's to blame? Is anyone to blame? No. No, if everybody's been trained in a certain way, why are they going to do anything differently? And that's why, yes, we would work with you and we'd look to not teach a man to fish is the analogy. That's what we would do, is show you what you need to do, enable you to be able to review it, make sure that you do have all the parameters in place. This isn't about shed loads of money. This is about understanding what Search Console does, how it works, how analytics is going to work for you, and making sure that you've got the right templates to review and do your content and do what needs to be done. So yeah, we would help you do that as part of our workshops.
Okay, and then we've got a question from Peter from London that said, "Would Sales Exchange be able to help us to recruit the talent we need to make the live streaming happen?"
Yeah. One of the things that I found really unusual, because this became, I mentioned before, I've been in business a long time, realised there was a problem. The problem became something that was interesting. Something interesting ended up becoming a mission. And now we want to change sales and marketing everywhere. But what is the most exciting thing about this is that there are film and television colleges who recruit, or rather who train up people in camera craft and broadcasting craft. And there are only a finite number of jobs, if you look at it that way round, in television and film. Everyone wants to get into it. So whilst they're waiting, per se, or offering people, these guys, jobs, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are looking to work in broadcasting, whether it's streaming, because streaming has changed quite significantly, through to just doing videos. So yeah, we would help you recruit these people. There are even websites out there that have people on it who want to work for free. Not that I would advocate that. They want to work because they want to get work on in their portfolio, on their CV, and they're prepared to work for free to be able to do that. But yeah, we would help identify them and be able to hand it over to them. So we would identify the job description, but give it to you so that you can manage them. It's not for you to do all this work, but it's so that you can manage them effectively. So yeah.
Okay. That's it, really.
I think so. I think that's we've come to the end. I mean, before we kind of get onto the final bit, I just want to touch on what we've got planned. Three kind of main things. The next thing we're going to do is going to go green. No, not anything to do with, I'm going to say something.
Don't say anything sarcastic.
Unpolitically. We're going to go green. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a virtual studio. You may have seen the news clips. That was just one camera, one background, and so on. This is setting up multiple cameras with different camera angles in the background, so you can have a multiple studio in any size room. It's the type of technology that Sky News uses. So we'll be setting that up and doing a behind the scenes, how to do it, how to get it set up, and so on. So that's the first thing. And the other thing that we're going to do is do a live demonstration on using streaming bridges. Work with me. Streaming bridges, working with Zoom. And so I mentioned in a previous show about isolating a Zoom call. We have multiple cameras, and you're able to bring Zoom calls in as if they were multiple cameras, which means you're able to do and deliver exactly what they show on the news with multiple people in different locations. So putting it into a real world scenario, you may have a sales director in one country, a salesperson in another country, and someone that's looking to buy something in another country. You can have a three-way streaming structure or any permutation that you want if it was looking to stream internally. Because bearing in mind, you don't have to stream publicly. You can still stream privately. So it could be if you're looking at a typical ABM scenario, so you do want to communicate to everybody, you can have 1, 2, 3, 4 people within your company communicating to the board of directors and senior people, whoever they are, in all the other companies, but do it professionally. Don't do, looking down and, not looking at the camera and that type of thing. So that's what we've got lined up. And I think that that'll be quite exciting. And we'll tell you well in advance. And like, as always, if you're not able to attend, then you'll watch it on catch up and so on. So that's it.
Great.
And it's so it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and I hope you got something out of this and out of the series. And we'll catch up with you in the near future. Bye for now.